How does the state come up with something like that?
Well, look where it's coming from. It's a very religious, fundamental state. And they're looking at, wait a second, even though it's not between a husband and a wife like Pennsylvania's cohabitation law is, but isn't it the same thing? And why should, I believe what was the driving force was, here was the ex-husband who's having to continually pay to his ex-wife money while she's, quote unquote, living with someone of the same sex.
But she
wasn't going to get rewarded.
But there's no such thing as a civil union, so who's she living with?
But she's, well, it may not be a civil union, but she was having the relationship akin to a marriage.
I understand, and curious how judges reach a decision. Bonnie.
Well, in New Jersey, we don't really care about that too much, and we look at what is the economic relationship between your other cohabitant. So if that person is receiving other income, which diminishes her need, then the payor spouse shouldn't be paying as much. Whether it's the mother-in-law who moved in, the mother who moved in, the 3 kids who now are 35, all earning, and they're paying their mom rent.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what
where
their
the money's coming from,
what their sexual relationship is, what their orientation is. It's the fact that economically there is more income so that the spouse doesn't need it.
And finally, let's take a quick look at child relocation. What's new? What's interesting, Dave?
Geez, caught me off guard there on that one.
Isn't there a McKinnon case, or is that out of New Jersey? Oh,
yeah, that's Jersey. Give it to the Jersey people.
All right. Bonnie, child relocation. What's new and interesting and different, at least in New Jersey?
Last week in our Supreme Court, they argued the case of McKinnon versus McKinnon, and it's a case where whether or not the mother, who was Japanese but had been married and living in New Jersey since 1992, should be permitted to relocate with their young child, I believe it was 5, 6, or 7, thereabouts, to Japan, Okinawa. The father said, if there's the relocation, I can never afford to go. I can never. He was a $60,000, $70,000 a year wage earner. He says, I can't even afford to visit. But Japan is not a signatory to the Hague Convention, which is an international convention that if you sign it, as a nation, you agree that you're going to abide and enforce other countries' orders regarding custody. And he says, but like once she gets there, I can't even get anything enforced. I could have a New Jersey court order that permits me to see my child all these days of the year, but Japan won't enforce it. So isn't that a problem, Judge? And that's what's up there in New Jersey. So we're looking forward to that.
And that takes up all the time we have for this session of Family Law. Again, thanks for our discussion dealing with big-time divorce tonight, some hot topics. Don Spry from King Spry, Herman, Freund and Fall, Bonnie Frost with Einhorn Harris, David LaDove with Cozen O'Connor, and Ellen Marshall representing Gene Strahan from the state of New Jersey. Thanks so much for joining us, Ellen. It was a pleasure having you here tonight.
Thank you.
For all of us here at Law Journal, thank you for joining us this week. We'll see you next Monday night right here on Law Journal. Good night now.
Tonight's Law Journal has been made possible in part by King, Spry, Herman, Freund and Fall, a comprehensive practice serving its clients in family law, business, personal injury, and school law matters for over 30 years, with 4 offices in Allentown, Bethlehem, Bangor, and Stroudsburg. Cozen O'Connor, a full-service, client-oriented law firm among the 100 largest in the United States, serving both business and private clients, headquartered in Philadelphia with over 20 offices throughout the U.S. and in London. Einhorn, Harris, Asher, Barbarito, Frost, and Ironson, for over 40 years, building its reputation serving individuals, commercial and private business clients in personal injury, zoning, estate planning, criminal law, and one of the largest family law practices in the state of New Jersey, with offices in Denville. And The Legal Intelligencer, the nation's oldest legal publication and daily newspaper for lawyers.